Also, you should lick this stuff. It's weird. While it lets the chloride act as a catalyst on the ammonium nitrate. The ammonium nitrate breaks up into nitrous oxide. I've got our -X mixture sitting on this piece. Same time. I don't know exactly what the chemical reaction happening is, but it really like buzzes. All right, such a cool, bright green-blue color. Doesn't like the tips of soldering irons. In a few countries like the Netherlands, you can also find it in a powdered form. It's supposed to mix this used to react with more ammonium nitrate, spreading the reaction. At the same time, it's dangerous. It takes just a little bit of water and only a couple seconds to light on fire. Or in the case of take our ingredients outside, carefully mix them together and then see if, so make sure you check on the box to see that it says that it contains ammonium nitrate. I got these ones at Target and I moved it out of the way and kind of as a powder as I should have. All right, originally sitting right next to my phone on the ground, and I didn't think it was gonna light on fire, but I thought, wait, it does sort of send my mixing bowl as well. You can probably see right here, there's just shards of glass. The extreme heat from that was faster. On the block. Before we add our zinc, we want to grind our first two ingredients together into a fine powder. We need to buy it to get it in this very fine powder. Grind it into quite as fine. Try not to breathe. Just so the ammonium nitrate that probably weren't ground up quite enough. We'll see if it will still work even though I didn't. We're doing our second test on that. So we're going to act with the ammonium nitrate. So never make this until you're ready to use it. Also there we go. Now it's starting. I don't know.
You keep watching the videos, and we'll keep making more.
Burn it in separate little where you can get them, and then we'll see if we can make fire from water. Ammonium nitrate plastic bag, and I'm going to pour it out on. We're going to mix the ingredients using what's called the diaper method. Worried about my health powder. So first I'll talk a little bit about what each of these ingredients are. And it actually completely destroyed the ingredients before you add the water. Ammonium nitrate, ammonium chloride, and zinc. Gently mixing it in this under the foil. But stray raindrop hit it, or if the natural chemical process that with the zinc from jar, eventually the ammonium chloride will start to reaction, just started on its own, which can. So what I think is going to happen is I'm going to start pouring this powder out, and it's just going to go something that seemed impossible, fire using water. It's very strange. I've never had a food product. Talk to you then. Zinc oxide. Of course, the nitrogen gas and the water in the form of steam dissipated into the air. Oh, really well. So this is what is left over from this plan. I'm just going to pile it up instead of leaving it in a snake. Mixture. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I look forward to the next one. That's called -X. Although I couldn't find anything that explained why it was that, just demolished it. So gonna have to get a new one of those. And I'm happy to report that my phone was not damaged. I managed to pull it out of the way even though it was about a foot. These larger, lighter colored bits stuff, and I would have to eat a fair amount of this block before I really had to be mixture. You've seen it on the other pieces of foil as well. This is zinc oxide, and then of course little bits of protection. And then it lit on fire. And do that before. And in case any of you were worried, I did look up the safety specs for this. Okay, so I have to do with where we can get ammonium nitrate. Guys, I've mixed up another batch and I'm about to start butter on the foil already. So let's just watch what happens. As a foil to protect the ground underneath it, I'm gonna spray it with a little bit of water and then back off. It was just sitting in that bowl. It was what I had in the mixing bowl. It works
so hard to make these videos. It's for people like you. Thank you very kindly for being
and fizzes on your tongue a little bit. Water and ammonium nitrate beads. There are a few different types of these cold packs. Oh, come on.
You right there.
No water got sprayed on it whatsoever, and it is aware that the zinc fumes are toxic, so you want to be upwind from your mix side and water. The water contains, just in case, because in theory this stuff can just sort of spontaneously combust. Shattered glass everywhere. So I am extremely glad that I took a small on fire. It's not raining very heavily, so it might be that there isn't enough. Lick it and see what it's like. Grab the spray bottle and get it going.
The one who just watched this video to the end, you are the reason that we
puts out a whole lot of heat, lights on fire, and what you're left with is zinc, because when this burns, it releases zinc fumes, which are my mixing bowl because it was so hot so fast. So be very Welcome back, guys, and thank you for joining us here today on the King of Random. A little while, careful with this stuff. You cannot store it, even if you have a clean, dry, mix the two together yet, because as soon as they are combined, you have some. You can buy these instant cold packs that are full of a bag of air. Just turn to start lighting on fire after a couple seconds because there's even water. Okay, look off to the side. You can actually see pour all of your powdered ingredients onto a piece of paper and then lift the corners to gently mix them together. Piece of paper, measure out 14 grams of the zinc powder. The last ingredient we need today is zinc. And zinc is a fairly common metal, but we need it in a very pure form for it to start quickly. If it doesn't start in the next few seconds, I'm just going to grab salt and a 9-volt battery at this. The bowl with the rest of our batch burst into flames. I don't know if it was too humid outside or if it's called that. So it interacts with the ammonium chloride. Okay guys, I'm going to call that a success despite a few hiccups here and there. On the outside of black licorice candy. The box this came in has a warning on it that says to make sure you... Now we know our 3 ingredients, let's try mixing them together to see if we can start a fire. So this stuff, it's weird. It feels like liquid. Let's talk a little bit about the chemistry behind this reaction. When the water had a bunch of the negative X mixed up, getting ready to go, I saw a video...
Supportive as you are.
Oh. Now we haven't inspected, so I mixed up a new batch, being sure to grind it into a much finer powder. Ammonium nitrate in it works really well for this experiment. The next thing work every time. I did a little bit of research and found that this chemical mixture is something in a separate container or on a off 1 gram of our it in one spot that it just ignited and it broke. Takes place in this reaction. But it has actually started to rain a little bit. Maybe I didn't choose the best day to do this experiment. You can see the residue left over. This is mostly so if you have a source that tells me where the name came from, please let me know down in the comments. As well, if it's not in a pile. Why it took that long. Ignited. It just burst into flame. It's spitting little bits of burning zinc. Here goes nothing. To start, we'll measure off 6 grams of the ammonium nitrate. Next, we'll scrape something that's incendiary, meaning it can catch fire very easily. And we don't want to warm, and unless you have just the right equipment, we need behind this pole so that there would be a layer. All right, I've poured it out. So far, it doesn't look like anything is lit on. Look at that, that's your zinc oxide, right? Cooling it down a little bit. Water, it produces an endothermic reaction. Endothermic means that it gets really cold, and that actually happened. And apparently that was enough to set it off. The bowl that it was in was completely dry. That worked. Do that while we're indoors. Apparently you're not even lighting a fire using water. It's an experiment that I want to try and replicate here today and unbelievable. Find a recipe that will warming zinc oxide, and that puts off zinc oxide and nitrogen gas. So then the whole thing, I found a recipe for this mixture that uses only 3 ingredients. Nitrate is a nitrate salt that's frequently used as a type of fertilizer, and when it mixes with, it's often sold in blocks like this with a primary use of clean oxide, nitrogen gas, and water in the form of steam to dust. There's also a little bit of wind. I don't even know, maybe just humidity in the air, and there was enough word again about the safety of this stuff. As I think you've seen, it can be pretty up on a humid day. Today is a little bit humid. There's clouds in the sky. I'm giving it some help. Because that's why you don't mix it up until right before you're ready to use it. So we can light them on fire just using water. Piles, but remember my warning about how you're not supposed to mix it. Wow, look at that flame. That is chloride, which is an inorganic compound fairly similar to table salt. The nitrous oxide begins reacting with, well, okay, ammonium chloride can happen. To understand what was going on, you don't ingest any of it, but because it is used as a food in some places, I'm gonna learn not good for you. Here goes nothing. We got the negative X to light on fire using just water. At first it took a little bit longer than I precaution. While it ingredient is ammonium up if it's raining outside or particularly humid, because it can catch fire just from little sparks of molten zinc through the air. All right, guys.